We're here in Willow Springs for the $1 million Challenge exhibition race, an all-new winner-take-all event that does not count for points. That's about to kick off for open practice.
An exciting event we have here, Lee. Let's head down to the pits.
$1 million on the line here from Willow Springs off of the first race of the season where Scott Dixon won in, well, quite surprising fashion as Joseph Newgarden dominated, but a poor strategy put him in a rough ending in 26th. Same for Scott McLaughlin, Marcus Ericsson, Rinus VeeKay as well. But we're not points racing today. It's our second race in our young IndyCar career, but it's an exhibition race. Now, in real life IndyCar today, we'll be doing the Thermal Club $1 million challenge. Well, Thermal Club is not a thing that exists in iRacing, so I have gone still out west, but we are here at Willow Springs instead, which is a very fun racetrack, a track that I haven't raced at in years. I think Project Cars 2 was the last time I put some laps around here, and it was showing early on. As you can see the track map there in the bottom left, and I was struggling early on in practice here to kind of get acclimated with the car, find a comfortability. As you can see right now, looking in the bottom right, the positions, I was down in 27th. That's dead last for the record, and I just couldn't quite find the pace until this moment right here. I would actually end up spinning around, as I would eventually come to a realization here. I had the wrong setup in the car. I had the Detroit Belle Isle setup in this car, so I would actually go in and fix that and get the Willow Springs setup in the car, and I would immediately see an increase in lap time and pace, and you're going to see it replicated here as we would come through the final corner. Such a unique racetrack, but we head to the line, and from P27 on the board, we're going to cross to go into the top 20. Still not great, but P18, an improvement I was happy with to go into qualifying on the same day here. Now, as you can see, the order in practice. So yeah, P18, not exactly what we wanted. Our teammate of Rosenqvist there just behind us as well. So this Meyer Shank Racing duo not looking so hot as Graham Rahal topped the board in practice. For qualifying, we are actually qualifying on a set of primary tires. I want to start on the primaries. And the format of this race, we will go over it now. There is a very slight difference in format of this race compared to what we see in real life, and I'll go over that here momentarily. But qualifying, really, like I said, a unique track. There's high speed moments, sweeping moments, of course, in the final couple of corners of very high speeds, but you got to live very briefly, get hard back on the gas. But you got the first half of the circuit, which is completely different. A lot of, well, the first part, high speed sweeping again, but then you go through the slower, windy sections, of course, and the elevation changes. A bit of almost a Laguna Seca style corkscrew, but a completely different fashion. My first lap puts us, well, briefly P3 because not everybody had crossed the line yet. However, by the time everyone had crossed the line, we were down to 22nd place, but I had found about 0.4 of a second gain after a bit of a oversteer moment right there. We're okay. We still managed to find some time in it. We're about 0.3 up, but there's a slide again as well, and that's going to ruin our lap. So we found some more time in it. We know there's more time on the table, but it's not going to matter because we've absolutely thrown our lap away as we continue to slip and slide around. A little bit frustrating, and we're actually going to be ending up qualifying, way towards the back here, all the way at the bottom of the grid, while Joseph Newgarden on pole will be dead last, but we know there's more pace in it. Malukas second, McLaughlin, Award, Ericsson all up there in the top 5, Armstrong as well. Let's get ready to go racing for $1 million here from Willow Springs.
Getting ready to go here from Willow Springs. Who should we have our eyes on today, Hinch?
3 names that stick out to me this weekend based off of average lap times in practice: Newgarden, Herta, and Scott Dixon. I guarantee one of those 3 will win this race. Don't forget, Lee, we have a competition caution coming at lap 25 in this 35-lap race.
That will be sure to spice things up. How will it affect strategy today? Only one way to find out. Let's go racing in Willow Springs.
Joseph Newgarden leads the field down into turn number 1 for this exhibition. $1 million challenge from Willow Springs in the background. It's Malukas side by side with McLaughlin. He'll get through as McLaughlin fades now under pressure from Colton Herta. Myself, I had actually gained a couple of positions in the first corner just due to some checkups and everyone just really backing it up, and I was able to gain 3 spots here now as we're going to continue to try and move our way forward, being cautiously aggressive. I'm I'm just kind of slotting in here behind my teammate of Felix Rosenqvist, just kind of letting things play out, letting it roll here now as we come through the sweeping right-hander. And as we come up to the chicane, it's going to get a little bit sketchy right here on this opening line. We can see everyone slowing up. I'm going to take advantage briefly up the inside right there of Jack Harvey, but we get past our teammate of Felix Rosenqvist, who really had a way better race than us in the actual first points race of the season there last episode. Road Atlanta, not exactly how I wanted things to go, but we rebounded to a pretty solid effort at the end of the day. Obviously, today, nothing matters other than first. There's no points on the line. We're just here to win this race, and it starts by moving our way forward in this 35-lap event. 35 laps of racing, and what's different about the format is there is a competition caution coming. With 10 laps to go, there will be a competition caution. We'll re-rack the field, restack them, get back racing again for what will probably be about 8 laps or so of racing from that point on. So that's why I wanted to start on the primaries, so we can go into the alternates for a late stint here. Now up the inside of Stingray Rob. Now as you saw, caught the grass, and that left him vulnerable to myself. So we're already looking to move ourselves into the 20th position. So, starting P27 and halfway through lap 2, we're into the top 20. We'll absolutely take that. Rinus VK up there in front of us next, as you see everyone kind of just getting single file, sorting things out. At the end of the second lap, Joseph Newgarden is driving away, and here comes Colton Herta now putting some pressure on David Malukas, who just doesn't quite seem to have the pace here today in the McLaren. Showed up in qualifying in the background car off the racetrack. That's Pato O'Ward in the Aero McLaren as well, and he goes for a spin. Not sure if there was contact or what happened. We'll get an onboard look at that in just a second. Herta gets through in the second. He's on the alternates, and look at this. That's what happened. Pato O'Ward clips the curb in turn 1, and it just completely unsettles the car. We'll go on board now, as you're going to see him down into the corner, a little bit more shallow of an arc compared to Marcus Armstrong, who's having a good run to start this exhibition race. And yeah, very unfortunate for O'Ward, who's going to be relegated all the way to the back of the grid. So this moves us now up into P19 as we kick off lap 4. Fuel, there's about 24 laps of fuel in a full tank of this car, so obviously cannot make it to the end, but my strategy is to take this tank of fuel as far as it will go, due to the fact that we're starting on the primaries. So we'll go as long as we can, swap over to the alternates. I expect to see drivers on alternate tires as well, maybe pit a little bit earlier than the fuel tank actually can go, so we'll have to pay attention to how that rolls. But I was struggling to really find the attack in this car. I was saving my push to passes. We have 10 of them to use, but I just couldn't quite find enough pace to get to the back of Rinus VK, and there wasn't really, at this point in time on lap 6, still 30 to go, there wasn't a whole lot of overtaking, at least in my section of the pack where we were running. Joseph Newgarden, nearly 4 seconds right now ahead of Colton Herta. We've got a spin. It's Malukas who started second, had been dropping down the order, lacking some pace, and now he's gone around. He'll rejoin onto the racetrack right in front of everybody. Here comes the main middle group of cars. Scott Dixon's going to get stuck behind. Alex Pillow got through. Kyle Kirkwood as well going through on the inside. There's, I believe, Will Power. Now you can see I'm coming up on this mess right now. This whole group of cars just got absolutely condensed and squashed together off track. That's Grosjean, Roman Grosjean, now off the circuit. Things are kicking off suddenly here on lap 7 of this Grand Prix now, as we will get right to the back now with Rinus VK. Malukas fading down the order. He's going to have to settle in, cool those tires down, and get back rolling wheel to wheel. We'll take a look at the replay in a moment of what happened, but Alex Rossi under pressure now, as it's not been McLaren's day so far, that's for sure. 2 of their drivers have spun, and now Malukas, Rossi, as well as O'Ward all outside of the top 10. Here's an onboard with Malukas, and it's a similar situation to his teammate of O'Ward. He hits the curb in the last corner, goes around, somehow no damage. He continues on, but my goodness, now here's on board with Grosjean. Look at this contact with Colin Braun. Actually sends him wide off the circuit, and that, of course, is going to relegate him way down the order. So now resuming back to live action here, and you can see Malukas really kind of holding up some traffic here. Rossi, his teammate, just behind. You got, as well, my teammate of Felix Rosenqvist there just behind us, as Joseph Newgarden continues to lead the way over Colton Herta and Scott McLaughlin. Marcus Armstrong up inside the top 5, and same for Marcus Ericsson as well. All those drivers having good days after a rough first points race of the season.
All right, You're doing good. Lots of guys are making mistakes, so just keep it on the track.
Yep, 10-4. I don't know how much more pace I got, really, to be honest.
I really didn't feel like I could give it a whole lot more now. I was trying to stick with VK as well as Alex Rossi, but yeah, there just wasn't a whole lot left in the tank. I was really just trying to hope that this race is going to come to us here. We're now starting lap 10 of this Grand Prix, starting lap 11, and you can see there VK shows the nose from side by side up there in front of us. One of those is Colin Braun, but yeah, I mean, really now just trying to hang on and just see how things kind of shake out. We know a caution's coming with 10 laps to go in this race to really spice things up for that quest for $1 million. Who knows, if we play our cards right, it could work out there. As you can see, Pato O'Ward going past, that's Canapino who's actually going to get through on now. He's going to go side by side with Harvey, and he's spinning again, and O'Ward has gone around for a second time here in Willow Springs in the $1 million challenge. It's gone completely wrong for him and wrong for McLaren. As you can see, I mean, that's all on him right there. He just pushes out wide into the side of Harvey, and around he goes. His race continues on, but my goodness, Pato O'Ward is not having a good exhibition $1 million race. He's certainly not going to be a $1 million kind of guy today. Very unfortunate for Pato O'Ward, and McLaren as well as now 3 spins for 2 drivers. Can maybe Alex Rossi cap it off with a spin himself? Here we go, trying to look up the inside of VK there. I was using my push to pass, but he made a bit of a late move, and I backed out of it there to be safe now. Pit stops kicking off a lap later as well, you can see, as a group of cars all going to be coming in. One of them, Ferrucci right there in the middle, is Graham Rahal staying out. Those are drivers on the alternate, so I'm expecting to see a bunch of alternate tires come in soon, including the leader of Joseph Newgarden. VK now trying to go around the outside of Rossi, couldn't quite make it happen. He's been putting Rossi under quite a bit of pressure, but yeah, passing is quite difficult here. And in the top of the screen, you can barely see it, but Herta is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. So he comes in. You see McLaughlin, Armstrong, Ericsson, they're all going to remain on the track. You got the pair of Marcuses up there, and there comes Scott Dixon into the pits there, last week's winner, or a couple weeks ago actually at this point now. But again, VK can't quite go around the outside, and now here I come to pounce on the opportunity. Can we pin it around the outside in the long sweeping right-hander full throttle just about now? And look at this move around the outside. Thank you very much. That will put us into P12, obviously like a net P17 or so, because of the cars pitting obviously. Now as we have run down Alex Rossi, can we do anything with him? Push to pass, engaged, coming to the start of lap 15. A big run on the back of the American. Will swing to the right side, wheel to wheel, side by side, both on the primary tires into turn number 1, and I can't quite clear Rossi. Not a good turn 1. He continues wheel to wheel and that orange and white machine. He's going to go around the outside in that Aero McLaren. He'll stay ahead. What a battle between myself and Rossi. Although brief, that was absolutely epic to see him do what I just did a lap prior. Just pin it around the outside and make it stick. As this track, honestly, when there is side-by-side racing, it produces fantastic sights and scenes here in Willow Springs. Absolutely love what I'm seeing, but we would settle in for the next few laps behind Rossi. I was really struggling to go much further than this here, lap 17 at this point, and we had moved up to P11 just due to pit stops and all those drivers on those alternates. Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, as well Armstrong, a couple of names on those alternates that are really stretching out this run as I set my fastest lap of the session, a 1 minute flat, 0.8 of a second, as I nearly was able to sneak to the left side, but Rossi couldn't quite make it happen, so he'll stay ahead for the time being. Again, we just continue to just chill behind him. Lap 18 at this point, pushing a little bit wide, but we're going to be okay. We'll stay on the racetrack, as that's really the main thing right now. But about 5 laps of field at this point, starting at lap 20, 16 laps to go, so we're not going to be able to get to the 10 laps to go, but you want to pit, of course, before 10 laps to go, but nobody can actually make it that far without making a pit stop beforehand. So it was just about trying to stay with Rossi, pounce on him if he maybe makes a mistake, which we've seen McLaren do today with both drivers. If not, just stay with them and prepare for the pit stop, where we'll then swap over onto the alternate tire. As we come to 14 to go though, Joseph Newgarden, he's going to be coming into the pit lane here from the lead. He was right on the back. It's very easy to lose a lap here when pitting. It only takes a minute to get around this racetrack. So Newgarden will pit. As you can see, Scott Dixon unlapping himself right there, but here comes now McLaughlin from second place. Armstrong, Ericsson, everybody basically is coming in here. Alex Palou should be coming in as well. So drivers on primaries as well, all pitting at this point. You can see nearly everybody in front of us pitting except for myself.
Pit next time around. Next time.
You heard the call. we're pitting this lap now. We'll go around the outside of the net leader of Joseph Newgarden. Now, AI really struggled to get their tires up to temperature on an opening lap, so this is an opportunity for us to gain quite a bit of track position. We'll head into the pits, got down to pit speed, 35 miles per hour, as we come in for 4 tires and fuel. We'll get those primaries off, and now the red striped alternates go on to the race car. As you can see, a lot of cars, basically everybody finishing their pit stops now. At this point, I was afraid we were going to have contact right there with Stingray Rob. We're okay, however, no contact takes place as he was turning into his pit box, basically, so that saved us. So we passed Alex Rossi, not even on the racetrack. We passed him in the pits. We had a great pit stop here. So we get out in front of him as I have a bit of a moment immediately in front of Graham Rahal there, as I'm sure he's not very impressed with the driving skills of the young Canadian rookie right there in front of him, but the Rahal Letterman machine will sweep past us there, as even I'm struggling to get these brand new alternates to warm up right off the bat, so we lose that spot. I'll be curious to see where we cycle out here, but the competition yellow is coming here in just a few moments time, lap 25, and we had somehow managed to settle into P9. When the pit stop cycle had started, we were going to be about P17, and now there it is. The competition caution comes out as Newgarden is already crossing the line to hit 10 laps to go. So caution's out. We are P9 in the top 10. We are on alternate tires, several cars in front of us on the black wall primaries.
A heck of a race so far, as it's been a bit of a disaster for McLaren. Newgarden leads at the competition caution, but Hinch, I think we should watch out for Herta here.
Colton's pace has been really good in the laps leading into this caution. Newgarden will need to be ready for an attack in these opening laps. Ted, what do you got for us?
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to note the new Canadian kid on the block, Gary Owen. He won big in the pit cycle and went from about a net 17th to 9th for this restart. So pay attention to him here on this restart.
Thanks, Ted. It's been a while since we've seen a Canadian winner in IndyCar. Could he be the next one, you think, James?
Only time will tell, Lee, but I hope so.
Okay, there's nothing to lose with $1 million on the line. Give it everything.
I like that idea, Chris. I'm going to do exactly that.
We're ready to roll. Joseph Newgarden on that front position. We're back racing here with what will be 8 laps to go. Colton Herta has had relatively even pace with Newgarden all day, but now that he's in striking distance, can he do anything? Newgarden already, though, checking out as I'm trying to put some pressure on Graham Rahal. Everybody has a nice clean start here, but hold on, look at the pace we got. We're going to go around the outside. How about Santino Ferrucci up here on the top 10? We'll go around the outside of him, and now Kalir nearly, but no, he's able to stay back on the right side. We'll continue wheel to wheel. I just realized right there when I said no, I sounded so Canadian. We continue on over to the back of the defending IndyCar champ of Alex Palou as we exit the final turn here, coming to the final 7 laps of this $1 million challenge from Willow Springs. Colton Herta has run down Newgarden. Both of them have checked out from the field. Is a bit of a moment there touching that curb in turn 1. We've seen that can be dangerous, of course. We saw a Ward crash doing exactly that. Malukas in that final turn right to the back now of Alex Palou, halfway through lap 29, coming to lap 30, but it wasn't quite enough. I would stay put behind. Now Colton Herta, pressure on Newgarden into turn number 1. He gets to the right rear. Now they continue wheel to wheel, but Newgarden stays ahead now as we continue on, as they will fight for this lead, and it's going to get really aggressive. I imagine $1 million on the line. There's Malukas right now going at it with, I believe that was Canapino. He's going to lose out now as well. Another spot. There goes Colin Braun, and here comes his teammate of Alex Rossi, the only McLaren who hasn't run into some kind of issue today, and Rossi goes forward as Malukas has really just, the only thing he's done today is fallen down the order from second place. Now, I was settling in P7. The cars in front of me had kind of got their tires lit up at this point, heated up the way they needed to be, and I was really struggling to put some pressure on these guys at this point. But who wasn't struggling to put pressure on? Colton Herta is again to the back of Joseph Newgarden. Here he goes to the right side. They are dead even across the start-finish line on the run down towards turn 1. He might get the lead right here. Newgarden tries to fight back. It's not enough, and Colton Herta Herta to the lead in the background as well. Palou goes around Marcus Armstrong. Palou trying to move forward here in these closing laps, but he's running out of time quickly. I was pretty happy with P7. I didn't feel like I had a whole lot more than that, but I know there's some quick cars behind us, including Scott Dixon, so we need to pay attention to that, but Ferrucci as well, even trying to put some pressure on me as we come to just 3 laps to go when we get back to the start-finish line. Joseph Newgarden still putting some pressure right now on Colton Herta, so it might not be quite over yet. Ferrucci right to the back of me. As you can see, here we go. Newgarden, does he have anything? This could be his one and only chance to get back to the lead of this Grand Prix. $1 million on the line into turn 1, dead even. Who gets out of it first? It's Herta. He stays ahead, and immediately he puts a gap between himself and Newgarden. That might be it. Colton Herta maintains the lead position. Newgarden, it's going to be 2 weeks or 2 races in a row where he may lose out on what was looking like a sure victory. Look at the mirror. Here comes Scott Dixon on those fresh alternate tires, setting a blistering pace in these closing laps. Obviously, nowhere near enough time for him to work his way up to the front, but he is able to get past Ferrucci, and now he's to the back of me as we come through these final few corners side by side in the background right here as well. That's my teammate of Rosenqvist there going alongside Braun. He banks out of it now. Here goes Alex Rossi around the outside of my Meyer-Shank teammate here into this final corner. They continue wheel to wheel, and around goes Alex Rossi. He dips the left sides into the grass. He goes for a wild ride. We stay green here from Willow Springs for the $1 million challenge, but that's another McLaren driver with issues. This has been the worst race ever for this McLaren Aero team. Scott Dixon, the pace is insane there as he continues past me, and he'll move himself into P7 as we drop down to 8th position now. I mean, it's absolutely insane what he is right now able to do in these final laps. There's only 2 laps to go in this $1 million challenge, and Herta has put a comfortable gap between himself and Joseph Newgarden. At this point, he's not under pressure. He just needs to hang on as we go for a slide right there on the exit of the corner, and there goes Kyle Kirkwood to pounce on it. So this will drop us now down to 9th place. Ferrucci right on me to start the final lap. Let's just hang on to a top 10. That's the goal at this point. Struggling in these closing laps, of course. A top 10 doesn't mean anything in this $1 million race. It doesn't really go to our stats or anything, so we're still going to be a top 10 list driver in our IndyCar career with only 1 genuine points race under our belt. Up ahead, Scott Dixon had made the move on Marcus Armstrong, so he moves up another position. What a pace he has set in these closing moments, but it's all really on Colton Herta. There's only one thing that matters today, and that's winning the race and winning the $1 million. Just like the first race of the season that actually counted for points there in Road Atlanta, Newgarden had the fastest car, but doesn't get it in the end. It's all Colton Herta today. Colton Herta around the final turn in Willow Springs, and he, sure enough, is going to come through to win the $1 million Willow Springs Challenge here as Newgarden and McLaughlin will come home second and third. We cross the line for a top 10, just barely holding off Santino Ferrucci, who tries to get us at the line. We'll take it. P9 would have, of course, loved to win $1 million.
Sorry guys, I mean, gave it everything I had at the end there, just lost the pace.
It's alright, man. Not bad at all for your second race.
I don't really know what else you could want other than that. What a race it was, where we see the finishing order on your screen. But yeah, I mean, a great top 5 there. Armstrong dropped out of the top 5 late, but Ferrucci, the last one inside the top 10. Ray Hall being the first one out. Christian Lundgaard there with a solid effort as well. Grosjean actually rebounded to a solid result. Will Power kind of struggled today, and so did our teammate of Rosenqvist, but he ends up in the top 20 at least. And, well, a terrible day for McLaren. All their drivers there outside the top 20 with Award as well as Rossi way towards the bottom. Malukas no better as well. Canapino and Fittipaldi, Harvey all down there as well. That's going to wrap it up for me. Next episode, well, we actually are back to points racing, and that will be on the streets of Long Beach for our first street race in IndyCar, which I'm excited for. I will see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day.